All right, welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show on this big Friday, Schlegs. Excited to be here rocking in the USA with you. You're down in Jacksonville. I mean, when is graduation for the kids? When's that? That Saturday? Tomorrow?
No, it's tonight.
Tonight. Okay. So
Tonight.
Okay.
After the show, I'm playing golf, and then we're going right from the golf course to the graduation. That's what we're doing. We're going to play this Pete Dye course. It's right next to the TPC Sawgrass. And then, boom, graduation. It's going to be quick turnaround, but guess what? We got to get in and we can fit it in.
That sounds like an awful lot, Schlegs, to try to get done in one day. Graduation. Dude, you're in Jacksonville. I'm guessing it's pretty hot. That sounds like a pretty terrible situation to play golf all day. Then is your graduation outside or is it indoors?
No. University of North Florida is actually a beautiful campus, and it's inside. Graduating class of 615. Gonna be a while. That's what I told Hunter. I was like, guess what?
Be a while, but you got a two for one.
I was like, guess what? You get to play golf with your family, and now you can actually go there, just hydrate while you're there, and chill. You know what I mean?
Hydrate, dude. When we were going into graduation, I know a lot of people that I don't know if it was. I mean, it was consumption of fluids. I don't know if it was actual hydration. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of people I knew that went there, really buzzed up and
hard to get something past Dad. Okay, when Dad did everything, you know what I mean? It's like I know all things.
Why are you trying to shelter your kids, Schlegs? Let them experience.
I'm not trying to shelter them. I'm just telling them like, hey, listen, your dad. You know, I remember at my graduation outfit, I think I had like some cut off camos and a wife beater under my deal. Everybody else all dressed up nice. I'm just like, you know, hey, you know,
yeah.
I mean, that guy with, you know, the beer dispensing helmet, that was me.
Well, I mean, there was a girl
that was a powder puff game.
A couple years older than me who I think just wore a thong underneath her deal and did a cartwheel on stage, you know, so Buckeyes.
Charge it to winning.
Charge it to winning. So I'm excited for you to have that going on this weekend and everything. Excited we've had this little nugget in here for a minute. Former Buckeye Mike Vrabel. I don't know if you're ever a former Buckeye, always a Buckeye. I went out to the one of his teammates, the Matt Light, who played at Purdue, longtime Patriot, left tackle, blocked for Drew Brees in college, and Tom Brady in the NFL. Had a great event in Columbus. He's got the Light Foundation out. They do a lot of work in Greenville and Dayton area. So I went out to that and shot some skeets. So next year you're going to have to get your butt up here. You'll be here to get you out at that. It was a really good time. We had a lot of fun with it. But I want to listen to Vrabes, who was Matt's teammate for a long time. And, you know, he coached at Ohio State, head coach of the Tennessee Titans. There was a stop over there. He was coordinator, I think, for the Houston Texans. Now he's the head coach at the New England Patriots. And so it's always like you talk about, Schlegs, the investment of getting guys to buy in. And like, there's a reason why Mike Vrabel is a hell of a man and a hell of a coach. And it's because of this. So Pat, can we throw this up here? And it's up there at the top. Vrabes along for the journey. Can you pull this up and see if we can get a little nugget here of Mike Vrabel of what he's all about, Schlegs? Because he's a no-nonsense dude.
Yeah.
But he feeds it to you straight, and he's honest with you, and he cares about you getting better. Maybe a little rough around the edges sometimes, maybe not always like that warm hug, but he's a guy that's going to ultimately make sure that he has your best interest in mind, and he's going to get the best out of you, which I think is very important.
Okay, good. Let's turn around. Let's get back to the middle. Let's get 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you guys all assume this is in the middle? Okay, good. Now get you a little base. Good. Very good. Get your hands up. Open your hands up. Okay, good. Hold on. Ready? Okay. Good. You've been lifted. Everybody give him a round of applause. Sit down. So what did you just notice right there? In the 2 things we did. Anybody notice anything? Tony, did you notice anything? How easily I got him to move across this hallway? And then when I started pushing against him, what happened? Yeah. We are going to be along on this journey with you guys. You understand that? And I don't care whatever's happened or how you've been coached. This is how I want to do it. Being along for the journey, yeah, I was kind of guiding him along there, pushing him a little bit, right? But I was next to him. There's a difference between being next to somebody and pushing them than sitting across from them and having some conflict.
There you go, Schlegs. And let me hear your analysis of that, Coach Schlegs, of how to run an off-season program and how to communicate with your players.
I think in this age where they've gotten so much misinformation or they think that there's always something better, I just look at Mickey Marotti and Frank Toronto's their head strength coach, and I've known Frank for a long time, coached for Coach Mick as well. He was at BC. He was with Vrabes in Tennessee. But what Vrabes is trying to articulate is, be in it. Matter of fact, I was on the flight back down to Jacksonville, and Keenan Bailey, our tight ends coach, he's fanatical, man. Like, he's sending me stuff about, if all else fails, fight with your brother, right? And really fight alongside your brother. It's just be along with them, be engaged. That's what Vrabes was talking about right there, right? The coach, he's guiding them. I don't necessarily know it's a hallway, maybe, the front part of the room, but he's guiding him there. And then when there's some conflict, there's resistance. That's also competitive excellence in the room. You want iron sharpening iron. So the beauty of coaching is that guys need all of those things. Not necessarily every day, but in some part of the day, they're going to need more than others. And that is the art of coaching. The art of coaching, I always break it down. The 4 I's of impact: inspire, influence, instruct, and invest. And you're going to do those, not all 4 at the same day, but you're going to do 1 on every day. And that's what coaching does. That's what being a great teammate is. And he was just trying to articulate through a visual, hey, you rookies, like, it is this. I want you to help guide. I also want you to be there to resist. I want all of these things. But it takes all of that. And we as coaches are there on this journey with you. And especially a guy in Mike Vrabel who played in the NFL for 17 years and his freaking hamstrings still look really big. He's just a big human. How's meat paws are like, get your meat paws up, boom. And his hands are just freaking ginormous. Like, he's there for you, man. He wants you to have the same type of career that he had. He's all about it, but he also knows what it takes to get you there. So regardless of how you've ever been coached in the past, right? Go with the flow. Go with us. Know that we have your best interest at heart.
Absolutely. And so you buy in. And Shuggs, I know that politics can be divisive even, but you hope that everybody's got your best interest at heart. So throw this up here, Pat. This is something, we were talking to Bender yesterday about the noon games, and Shuggs was yelling at Bill as if he's the one that started this. But
he is the sporting news, Bob. He has street cred, bro.
Absolutely. We're going to be joined here by A Ward Sports here soon. Our guy Austin Ward, and he's joining the fan here. He's at Rivals. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So I can't wait to catch up with him and talk to him about this. But Ohio State representative proposed a bill that would prevent the Buckeyes from playing noon games, with the exception of the contest against Michigan, if they were ranked. Both teams are ranked in the top 10, and I think it's like a $10 million fine. Now, I don't usually like politicians getting involved in sports, but given the fact that Kevin Warren signed a terrible deal with Fox and Ohio State has to carry the water and they get nothing else out of it other than the fact that they're playing at noon, it's not like they get a greater slice of the pie. And the Big Ten, is the one that's pushing back on them, but they don't get anything from it. And they say, hey, well, you got to be a part of it. So yes, this is Ohio State's issue right now. And so I love that the congressman's kind of saying, listen, let's see if we can put something in here and get it done.
So I just want to bring this up to you guys.
Okay, let's bring it up, Schlegs.
So Kevin Warren, he went to the University of Pennsylvania, but I believe he got his BS. There's a lot of that with him. At Grand Canyon University, big-time football there. Then he got an MBA from Arizona State and a doctorate. I'll be dadgum. I'm going to go back and get – this is honestly more appalling that he has a doctorate from the University of Notre Dame than Doc Jock, and that's my dad. And
you can go get it. Believe me, I've looked.
I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go do it.
Couple different schools, you can do.
We're going to do it, Bob. We're going to do it. Just like you and I did our MBA together, we're just going to go get a doctorate together. That way we can just call each other doctor. But here's what I want to say. Ohio State is the one that's chopping wood, carrying water for the entire Big Ten at noon. And again, for us fans and the experience of the fans, where does it actually hurt us the most? Is we are that school that we can bring in the recruits that we want at night in that environment. That's the high school kids. It is hard for them to get there at noon on a Saturday. because they played on Friday nights. And this is week freaking 1. And you got a top 5 matchup with 2 unknowing quarterbacks, Arch Manning and whoever our starter is going to be, in that environment. So you're automatically giving us a competitive disadvantage by not allowing us to be at max capacity. I mean, boom, volume 11. It's Mickey, boom, crank that up, right? Volume 11. It's not even on there. You put a sticky tape. You write 11 on there. Some jock tape, We can't even do that because we have to be in this deal with Fox and chop everybody's wood and carry everybody's water. And we ourselves get no competitive advantage and no more money. Stupid. Thank you, Kevin Warren and Grand Canyon University, maybe.
There you go. Well, that's exciting. So we've got A Ward Sports on deck. I'm sure he's going to have some take on the noon game.
Good.
I don't think we've got a chance to talk to him. Last week you were not on. It was just me and Austin, so it was a good conversation without your nonsense. But I didn't get a chance to talk to him really about the James Franklin whole bit yet, of everything going on there. He always has some great takes. A Ward Sports is in the hopper, ready to go next. But first, parents, athletes, protect what matters most with Export Mouthguard, trusted by professional athletes and designed by NHL team dentists. Export Mouthguards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export Mouthguards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including the patented use of carbon fiber, custom fit to your own unique smile. They 3D print that thing for more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Do not take chances with your safety. Go visit exportguards.com/Bobby to save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. A Ward Sports coming up next. And here he is, the guy that needs really no introduction. You can give him a follow on X at A Ward Sports. Him and Berm bringing their podcast over to 10 TV Plus and The Fan. He's still doing great things at Rivals. I mean, he's a man of the people.
Look at that ginger.
Fan. He's the best. Austin, before we even get into the football element of this, my wife stumbled into this on Netflix and she fell asleep halfway through the first episode, but I can't, when I get locked in on something, I want to watch it to completion.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to see the WWE Vince McMahon Netflix special that they put out?
Sure have. In fact, I've been through it twice already, Bob.
Jeez, of course.
It's because the first time it's like they throw so much at you at once. It's almost overwhelming. And I lived through a lot of it, and I've been, a wrestling fan pretty much my whole life, professional wrestling, not the very skilled pursuit that Schlegs is probably more familiar with. But you miss some of the details that you go through. So yeah, and especially because I wanted to binge all the way through it. So I took a little bit more time the second time through. And it's funny because it's like Liberty has become a huge professional wrestling fan, my daughter, but this is not something that she can watch.
No.
And she likes to watch Raw, SmackDown. We went to the Royal Rumble, went to SummerSlam last summer. She loves all of that. She's fully into it. Allie doesn't like watching those shows, but she loves the documentaries. This is the part that I get into. So I kind of get to piece it together as we go through, but it's a remarkable documentary. It's crazy that the timing went through with that. I'm curious, and maybe I'll get more of your thoughts of it some other time. We don't have to take up our whole show talking about Vince McMahon and WWE, Bob, but I know that your kids have dipped the toe in a little bit as well. But I think it's really well done, and some of it is really also quite sad considering what has transpired there.
So I haven't seen, I've watched 2 each night. So I'm going to try to watch 2 more this evening, finish it out because like you said, the timing, I guess they have hundreds of hours of footage that they kind of just stopped the project because of everything that went down with Vince and him stepping down. But it was a great history because I kind of dove in. I mean, I knew who Hulk was and everybody back in the day. And Andre the Giant.
Oh yeah!
But I kind of got in with like the Nitro and all of the guys going to WCW, and like that was it. And so seeing the back and forth of how all that went down is pretty crazy. And it's it's capitalism at its finest. Exactly. I told my wife, I was like, Wolfpack and Too Sweet. I mean, it was a big deal. I mean, they were crushing it for a while, and then all of a sudden, WWE with Vince becoming the heel and Stone Cold kind of save everything is where I'm at now. And speaking of save everything, I mean, we've got Slags and I were just talking about prospective legislation, which I'm sure probably won't get passed and even go anywhere, to try to counteract.
Hey, bro, you know somebody, Bob.
I do.
You know a one lieutenant governor. Like,
I don't know if
get
Tress,
him in the hopper, bro. Like, Tress, listen. I know we got education, but like, this is Buckeyes. You know, like, let's do something here.
But it's just the noon situation is almost unbearable. I know Ross is trying to work on it with Ryan, and they're trying to figure something out. But just that Ohio State has become the water bearer for the entire conference, more or less. And the addition of USC and Oregon don't help because you're not making those games at 9 a.m.
Right. Yeah, and I think that the part that you have, state representatives or legislative tools at the disposal here, I think that's the part that is kind of annoying to me. I don't disagree with anything that Schleg said, Bob, that you have said, and that everybody knows that there is potentially more value, primarily with recruiting for these night games. And it is a burden that is placed on the Buckeyes and the fan base, maybe more specifically, because I think that the program itself, and whether that's Ryan Day, whether that's Mickey Marotti, whether that's, players getting their body clocks adjusted, I think that they have embraced the noon games. They tend to actually, I think, really like them. But you are also trying to service broadcast partners and fans, and both of those entities have to remain engaged for the long-term well-being of college football. And that's a difficult balancing act. And I'm not saying any of that to justify what's happened here or to say just get over it, because I don't think that that's the outcome that anybody needs to take. But where it becomes silly, and I think probably in some ways embarrassing for Ohio State itself, is when you have these resolutions pass or attempted to be passed. As you said, it's not going to pass, but this happened at the end of last season with the felony flag planting. The Buckeyes didn't ask for any assistance to do this, but when you see the headlines, when you see the talking heads in the debate shows pick this up, they won't say this person who knows that there's no likelihood of this being passed, created this resolution for the fans to score political points for whatever reason. Ross Bjork, Ryan Day don't want this. They didn't ask for that assistance from the legislators. They didn't ask it from the state house or anybody else. So the way to get that done is when you have a chance to go sit down contractually with Fox, with the Big Ten, and that's still several years away. I understand the frustration there, but right now, if you want this to go through the government process, it's going to immediately run into a brick wall because those contracts already exist.
And who made those contracts, and how do we go back and attack that person?
Bob's done that plenty, Schlegs, and you've got the whiteboard. You've already given the answers for that.
Honestly, solutions for institutions. I myself, Bob, and some monster Dickel could go out there and solve all the world's NCAA college football problems, no doubt. And let me ask you this question, because you're such an A-ward. What are the things that you are really liking right now to talk about? Because I want to talk about the stuff that you want to talk about, because this is the off season. We're in the May semester. Guys are about ready to start going back to, summer conditioning programs that runs all the way up to July 4th. And so everybody knows they're going to have summer conditioning. It's going to get bumpy. Like, they get about 6 solid weeks, man. And then boom, 4th of July hits. And then they get 3 weeks, boom. And then they get like 5 days, boom. And then they reacclimate, boom. And then they're in camp. What is something that's juicy right now that maybe like other people aren't listening to that you love talking about?
I just love talking about the Bucks, Schlegs. I mean,
I do so terrible. I'll give you something then.
But look, here's the real deal. I mean, at this time last year, Berm was talking about how exciting it was going to be, and that Jeremiah Smith might be the face of college football by October, by November. And it did happen. But at that point, it was like, well, okay, well, what are we basing this off of? Because I do think that this summer period, and what I like to do, so Berm is covering those June recruiting camps, and the coaches are all out there, and then the current players are out there. They're in the midst of those workouts. And I don't think that we've historically paid enough attention to how much those guys can change. So when Jeremiah Smith earns an Iron Buckeye Award going through these summer workouts, and you know how difficult they are, both of you guys do. You've been through them yourself, and then Schlegs, you've helped implement them and coach them and bring the most out of these guys. That was sort of the period where you watched him. He was already impressive physically, but tracking the way that all of them are changing their bodies physically over the summer, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But college football is a 365-day-a-year thing now. So once you get into this next phase, I am more interested in it than I have ever been because I'm seeing the results show up more than I ever have.
Well, they're coming out of spring. Who would be that guy? Like one guy that caught my eye was like James Peoples' body, you know, like, but who else? Like who else from, like what other position, what other guy like Brandon Ennis? I remember when I saw Brandon Ennis is going to be a dog here in the slot this year. I truly believe. And then like the Mayan Grahams of the world, who else caught your eye of, man, this guy came in and completely has transformed all in on the Mickey Marotti plan. Like who's that for you?
Yeah. So sometimes we have a tendency to just latch on to the next shiny new thing because there are so many 4- and 5-star recruits. Malik Hartford was one of those guys, Schlegs, and he had a training camp 2 years ago as a true freshman that was turning everyone's head. That sort of fizzled out. The experience was up and down for him. He had the one play in the game that didn't go his way. It was rough. He's faced that adversity. He dealt with injuries a year ago. I know for certain that the coaching staff and the strength staff thought very highly of what Malik Hartford did as he responded and is looking towards that bounce back here. So when you're looking, I'm excited about Jalen McLean too. And obviously you have Caleb Downs, but I feel like you're in the middle there where Malik Hartford's maybe not getting the attention that he deserves at this moment.
We're going to take a quick little break. We got more with Austin coming up next. Welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. We got our guy, Austin Ward. He's been bouncing around platforms here, but I think he's found a home over at 10 TV Plus and the Fan. Still associated with Rivals as well, Austin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's more, going on there. The shifting sands of my life over the last 7 weeks on 3 acquired Rivals. So that's all in the works. Don't know exactly what's going to transpire there, but could be an opportunity with the folks over there at Letterman Row and Will Crawl and Shannon Terry, who I've known in the past, and spent some brief time there. Obviously built Letterman Row, and both of you guys helped us out a lot back in that day, but maybe there will be some joining of forces there as On 3 and Rivals come together. We'll see how that transpires.
What was old is new again. So excited to kind of see your endeavors. I know everybody.
Time is a flat circle, Bob.
It really is. And one of the guys is like a real smart, real smart saying. Jim Knowles, real smart guy. And, you came on last week when Schlegs was in Indy, and it was kind of right before the Jim Knowles, proclamation, I think, happened, where he was talking about, the timeline of events and everything that kind of got to him. And so it's kind of been discussed over the last week. And I know we've talked about it before, but it's the first time he kind of went public with it. And do you think that was a wise move for him to go public and kind of talk about that? I don't know if he was trying to justify his decision, garner some sympathy. It just, it seemed a little awkward given that Ryan Day has been very silent about the whole situation.
I don't think, Bob, that is how I would have handled it if I were in Jim Knowles' shoes, which I'm not. I don't think that is what I would have advised if I was Jim Knowles' agent, which I'm also not. So that would be my own personal opinion on that, because I don't think that he came off very well in this interview. When you are preparing, now you knew this, I knew this, we talked about this. Like, everyone was pretty much aware that Jim Knowles was working and trying to get a contract extension and a raise accomplished before the national championship game. But it was, not something that was really coming out of Jim Knowles' mouth. Ohio State was not addressing it specifically. So if you wanted to source that, it was not anyone on the record saying that this was happening. Now Jim Knowles is coming out and saying, yeah, hey, that part is true. I was trying to get a raise done before the national championship game. My mind was maybe not fully on that game. And kudos to him. If he balanced his time well enough, which he did, the Buckeyes did beat Notre Dame. They did win a national championship. But to me, that would have been the optimal moment to have your leverage. And I think that some of the negotiation process had been soured by the fact that Ohio State was asking players, if you have a portal decision to make, if you want to renegotiate your NIL opportunities, your contracts for the future, let's try and get this mission accomplished. And then we promise we'll handle that for all of you after the year. So the players are by and large honoring that part of the deal. And then you have the defensive coordinator who seems to be taking a very different tact and is calling James Franklin like hours after the national championship game, while the celebration is still ongoing in Atlanta for Ohio State. They did come back to the table. I know for certain that there was a contract offer, and Jim Knowles talked about this as well. it was very lucrative. When you subtracted the buyout from Penn State down to what Ohio State was offering, the money was essentially the exact same. So I don't know. Jim Knowles always has done things his own way. I've appreciated all of my time dealing with him. And if you were an Ohio State fan, you should definitely, I think, appreciate what he did during those 3 seasons to help get the Buckeyes to the top of college football. I think the exit, in the way that he has now described it, I don't think that does him any favors. And that may mean that on November 1st, you don't have to warmly welcome him back the way you might have before.
Yeah, don't. I mean, he was sliding into people's DMs, like, hey, bro, like, look at what's up, man? You want to hook up? I just won a national championship. And to me, what really soured for me when I heard everything about it is it's the same thing with the Hendrickson contract, right? It's like, just go finish the year. Let's talk about it. Let's honor it. Ohio State did. And again, in the midst of it, what is going on in recruiting and people trying to poach your guys and talk to your guys in the midst of trying to make a run. And then to just add fuel to that fire as a defensive coordinator or a coordinator in that position to talk contracts before we won the national championship. You don't even know if Ryan's job is safe at that moment and we don't win a national championship. I mean, that was the real talk. Like literally 2 weeks prior, it's fire him and bring in Brian Hartline to run it to get experience. Like that was the verbiage that was going around Ohio State football on the doomajig. You know what I'm saying? So it makes no sense. Let me ask you this. Who's our rival right now? This was the thing that I saw it popped on there. It's like in this era, obviously Michigan, they're a rival. That is it, right? Always the game, best game in all of sport, best rivalry in sport. Who is it now in the Big Ten, and who is it on the national stage? Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question, Schlegs, because Penn State will tell you that they are unrivaled, and Ohio State will tell you that there's only one team that matters to them, and they only give out gold pants for one opponent. So, I mean, the game sets
can you
on the
have
side.
multiple rivals? Can you have multiple? I mean, is that like a girl? Like, can you have multiple?
I think you should only view one as the be all end all. If you start dividing it up into pies, I think it becomes tougher to focus on that. Like Tennessee, when I covered them, Schlegs, they were split multiple ways. They had the third Saturday in October with Alabama. That was a priority to them, but Alabama cared more about Auburn. They had a rivalry with Georgia. Georgia cared more about Georgia Tech. Vanderbilt wanted to be Tennessee's rival. They were the little brother in the state, and they couldn't even hope to compete in football. So it was like they were a man without a true allegiance there to any one true rival. And I think it is important that Ohio State has one in Michigan. I think when it comes to the next conversation, the most competitive series since I've been covering this team now 13 years, and at least consistently competitive, setting aside the bragging rights with Michigan, has been the Penn State series. Now, the results have still been pretty lopsided, but if you look at this with, especially in a world where maybe Michigan is facing a postseason ban and might not be involved in the Big Ten race or the college football playoff race, this is a year where I've already felt a lot of seasons that the most important game in terms of overall landscape for Ohio State is beating Penn State. And I think if you add in the subplots where people are putting Penn State as a preseason number one, you have Drew Auer, you have Jim Knowles there now as the defensive coordinator. I think that Penn State becomes much more prominent here for Ohio State, at least this year. And it doesn't mean that it's going to ever become a true rivalry, that there's going to be a trophy for it, that there's going to be jewelry for it. I'm not suggesting any change like that. But once you factor in all the other competitive aspects for this season, I think that Penn State becomes the one that you circle.
All right. One more, since we mentioned Penn State, about the Jim Knowles situation, James Franklin. And I don't want to say that Ryan was turning the page, but he hadn't gotten his new deal yet. And if I'm him, like, you'll get your new deal after I get a new deal.
Right.
With the way Jim Knowles was handling that, and I think you and I had talked about this, that Matt Patricia, I don't know if, I thought it was just going to be kind of a tag team with Guerreri and Tim Walton, but Matt Patricia coming out of nowhere. Do you think Ryan, and this is sheer speculation on my part, do you think he had an inkling that, hey, maybe Matt Patricia might be a better fit for our culture of what we're doing here, and had him kind of on the back burner ready just in case?
I think, Bob, that, and no one has told me this, so it is a little bit of tea leaves and speculation.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
why
do it.
this is wild.
Do it. That's why we're talking.
Speculation here, Austin.
I think if Ryan Day had not had to replace both Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles at the same time, that he probably would have proceeded with Matt Guerreri and Tim Walton as co-defensive coordinators, because he could have continued to remain as hands-off as he was with the offense. And I'm not saying that he's going to dive back in fully. He trusts Brian Hartline. He trusts Keenan Bailey. He trusts Billy Fessler. He trusts Tyler Bowen. He trusts Carlos Loughlin. But the fact that both coordinators had to be replaced is pretty significant for Ohio State. And I think, and I don't know if Ryan Day would dive down this path or follow this thread with us, but I think that became a situation where he needed to shift gears a little bit and go back to having a head coach of the defense where he wouldn't be involved in that. And I think he believes that Matt Patricia can handle that. So I don't know if you would join me in that wild speculation or not, Bob, but I think that may have had more to do with that and Matt Patricia being available and an option than I would have thought on January 22nd.
Okay.
I agree with that.
I'm glad you.
Good. I got
no. And here's why. He's been a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's somebody that knows exactly what you want. He can run the show. That's all a leader wants. I unequivocally trust you. Do your freaking job. That's what he couldn't do when he was micromanaging everybody as the quarterback coach, the coordinator, and the head coach. Can't do it anymore. I need somebody I can trust. That's what he got. I like it.
So he's able to get them. Austin, you got Schlegs on board with your he followed the trail of breadcrumbs.
Boom.
So Hansel and Gretel followed you all the way there, and so you're able to get it back. Austin, thank you for being flexible with us today. I appreciate it, man. I enjoy these conversations. I know you love talking Buckeyes, and so you've got a lot pent up that we're trying to release and get you out since you weren't able to maybe do it as regularly as you liked for a while.
That's right.
And people keep asking about the Rooster Show, so I've trying to been laid some breadcrumbs, and hopefully we'll get that rocking.
Are we going to do that again? Because I moved back in July.
No,
so
you don't. You're done. Like you moved away. You got cut out, so you're done.
You
I
know
just
that
want free mac and cheese bites.
We all do. You know that's the top priority. I miss those Mondays at Roosters. Missed having you around for a long time there, Schlegs. But we had Bob and Jay-Z picking up the slack as much as they could. They didn't eat as many mac and cheese bites, but they did the best that they possibly could. Maybe mozzarella sticks. They can handle that.
Exactly. All right, Austin. We appreciate the time, sir. Keep doing a great job, and I know everybody's excited to start hearing from you on a regular basis again.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
A Ward Sports on Twitter. Give him a follow there because he is awesome. All right, coming next, we got our headlines. But before that, I want to tell you about our friends over at Backer Premium Products. They're fantastic. The windbreakers are great. The cold gear is phenomenal. It's bckr.com. Go check them out. Founded to make better quality fan gear. They want to give you get you the stuff like the shirts or the coats that you hunt in, the hats, the fishing, the golfing, all of that high level apparel. The coat, which I only got to wear one time, thankfully, because it hasn't been that cold. The winter coat is fantastic. The rain coat has been tremendous, and their pullover is awesome. Protective, lightweight. It's got UV protection in it, patented technology all throughout. Unbelievable experience when you buy their stuff at backer.com, bckr.com. Portion of those proceeds go back to Ohio State student athletes. So go check them out and use promo code all caps Bobby when you check out for free expedited shipping at backer.com. Headlines coming up next. All right, we got some headlines here for you, Schlegs. I was looking for this one for a long time. I mean, Ohio State, it's powerhouse by draft positioning. And a lot of people claim, their DBU, linebacker U, quarterback U, running back U, whatever it is. And so this kind of lays it out here with the top schools by draft position. And so you look at this, Ohio State, they have BIA, which is defensive backs. Best in America. They've got their wide receiver U, the zone 6, they call it. You can say linebacker U, Schlegs, myself, James, AJ, Ryan Shazier,
Matt Wilhelm,
Raekwon McMillan. I mean, dudes aplenty that have been drafted there. Defensive line, you look at the D ends that they've ultimately had. Chase Young, Sam Hubbard, the Bosas, Tyquan, tons of dudes as well. And so you look at this, and Ohio State's got 3 of these all on the defensive side of the football, Schlegs, and then they're splitting the wide receivers.
That's terrible.
with LSU. Well, LSU's got a lot of wide receivers in the league.
I know that too, but like just the run of like first rounds and consistency.
I understand that. They
You're
have
talking-
Jamar Chase.
But it's
and-
also, you know what, this goes back to the 2000s because it's been hot, but like they still had, you know, Michael Jenkins and you had Gonzo and
I
Ted
get
Ginn
it.
and Santonio. Like those guys were all first round draft picks, you know,
I
the Super Bowl
understand. You
champ.
could argue that the two best receivers in the NFL right now are both from LSU. So they're both on that national championship team with Joe Burrow. So they've got some really talented dudes. But Ohio State's had a lot of volume. They've had a lot of first round picks, and it seems like they've had a first round pick like every year for the last 4 years, or 4 over 4 years, or whatever it is. And then you got Michael Thomas in there as well.
Chris Carter's not from before 2000, Pat. Thank you for throwing that in there.
It's okay. But Michael Thomas, who was a second round pick through 4 years, I mean, he broke some of Reggie White's records while he was healthy and everything. So you got DBs, you got DNs, you got LBs. The defense is covered, and we take a lot of pride in that. You've got the obviously the wide receivers as well, and Notre Dame coming in strong with tight ends and O-line, which I always thought tight ends, like all the good tight ends, it seems like in the NFL, not all, but most are from Notre Dame, and then the offensive line here. But it's crazy when you look at this, Schlegs. You've got Bama, you got Notre Dame, you've got Ohio State, LSU splitting them, and then USC's got like half the quarterback. I mean, it's so crazy how compact that is.
Yeah, development. You know, and I think it's also everybody that's out there like kind of takes for granted one of the development of those people to go out there and like that draft of whatever that thing symbolized. So the development, that's why it says developed here at Ohio State, but also just how difficult it is for a university to put out the talent that they do. I remember the 2004 draft, right, Bob? Like there was like 14 guys of ours. And our draft, I think we set or tied a record for the most first round draft picks, of which you were a part of. And I think we had 9 guys drafted that year, but the consistency to be able to do all those things year in and year out, it's 25 years that they're talking about right there. It's a lot. So, you know, kudos to that, but there's a lot of great players that can also come from nowhere, but it's cool to see. Again, all this to me, every time I see stuff like this, I'm just like marketing, right? Like feed it to the guys that are coming in, which is also why we need to play more night games so we can get those recruits to Ohio State to see the experience, you know, see the environment, experience it. But it is a special place to be from.
Absolutely, Schlegs. Well, we're going to wrap that up as well. As our headlines brought to you by our friends over at Lake Spur Marketing. Schlegs, full service ads agency built on trust, strategy, performance. They do a great job. They've got the experience that you'll love. 100 years of marketing experience. Lake Spur eliminates the waste. They deliver on budget. Their team is going to shield you from the unwanted outside noise, the cold callers. They let you do what you do best, which is work on your business. They don't chase clicks. They build partnerships. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in the partners. Coming up next, we got our tailgate talk where we answer your questions. Coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, Schlegs, I got one of these great comments from our show on Wednesday with AJ. And it's great. It's from our loyal listener, Emily, who listens to all this stuff, commenting.
Emily, you're amazing.
She's the best. And it says, it was from the clip of Lanning jumping in the pool, Schlegs, with the recruit, as you remember.
I remember that.
It says, Lanning isn't even tan, which makes it worse. The Bronco pick is fine, but this was so cringy. So, Schlegs, get a tan, dude.
Oh, I'm going to get a tan. Like, what? Are you telling me that I need to get a tan, or are you telling me to call Dan Lanning or Tosh Lupoy and say, Tosh, why don't you tell Dan to like get into the bed? You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, one of our guys, Mark Snyder, he had a tan in bed in his dadgum house. I mean, yeah, we're in the north, but you can fix that. You can remedy that.
Yeah, they could get it done. Tan. You could get it changed, Schlegs. They could figure it out.
I know their strength coach. He's really good. Like, let's get in that gym too, man. Let's keep it sexy. Keep it tight.
Yeah. I get it 100%, Schlegs. They've got to figure that out and get it tanned up as well. So Emily
what
also
questions
said,
we got?
Well, Schlegs, not a whole other questions, just some comments. Emily also said Schlegs 100% on point. I think when you were talking about the wrapping up the show about the college prospects and getting your kid recruited, my son was not going to be D1 but wanted to run, so we told him D3 could happen. Put in the work to get the grades. We did pay for a service that gave him access to the emails and such for the coaches. Worked out, went on visits, took him around to do the background stuff. Then we got an offer. There's some money in D3, but it's going to be through grades. So make sure if you want it, you can go play college sports. So some great advice out there to the folks, Schlegs, as you got a chance to see that. So thank you as well. They appreciate that. You got anything else for us, Schlegs, before we get on out of here?
Are we closing the show, or do I get my?
No, we got one more. It's before we wrap up our tailgate talk.
No, I'm good. I love it. There's some really cool stuff that's going on, everybody. I had one right here, Bob, so we can go this. Here's something for you. Matchups. Oh, my gosh, Bob, do we have time to go into the shark thing right this second?
No, we're not going to do the shark thing.
Okay.
And you're not going to – you know what? You can do the shark thing, as you wrap up the show. That'll be it.
I'm not – I know I got a better one that I just thought of that I think everybody needs for the weekend. 30 seconds is all I need.
I thought you were going to say that could be your dude of the week. I mean, because that's mine. So – we'll wrap up the show with our Dude of the Week up next. All right, Schlegs, you got your 30-second wrap up before we show my Dude of the Week.
Well, my Dude of the Week is going to go right into this. And again, you just love being around family, and we're celebrating. My Dude and Dudette of the Week are my two children, Hunter and Faith, because they're graduating high school. Both graduated with over a 4.0, so they get to wear some kind of doomajig. But it's just wisdom. Right, and me and Uncle Coach Mike were sharing stories, and I had a great one about my mom, Bob, and it was like, it was so funny. And R.I.P. Mom, she's been gone for like 5 years now, but you think about her in times like this. But Uncle Coach Mike just dropped some wisdom as we were sharing stuff, and the wisdom goes like this, and I think it's something that we all need to hear, and also like make your bed type deal. Like somebody gave my son that book. Here's what Uncle Coach Mike said, and it's very true. Never pass up a bathroom, because we're in the airport. And as we're discussing this, hey, man, I'm over 50. Guess what? Never pass up a bathroom, never trust a fart, and never waste a boner. So, again, my two kids, Dude of the Week, Dude and Dudette, but Uncle Coach Mike, solid advice, sir.
That's great. Well, here's my Dude of the Week. So, when you can survive a great white shark attack, that's when you know you've done something. It's pretty impressive. You think you're getting in the cage, but you're getting into someone else's realm. And you always got to be careful what it looks like. And you're in Mexico. So here's a little cage diving with some sharks. You see them diving on in there. Person's in there. Sharks trying to get in there. Oh, hitting against the side. Hold on a second. Let's wait and see what happens. Holy smokes. Guy throws his hat. Do I get in there? Probably not. Oh, shark's coming out of the cage now. So got inside.
Look how big that shark is.
I'm thinking that's like a probably 14-foot great white. Like not crazy big, but big enough. Maybe 15. And so I'm thinking that person's dead for sure. Like there's zero chance anything's going to happen. I'm waiting for just a body to float up. They're sticking the poker in. What are we going to do? Because they're sure as hell I'm not getting down in there after watching that. Hold on, Schlegs. Dude of the Week. I don't even know who this guy is. It might be a dudette. Who knows? Surviving, coming on out of there. All their limbs attached, arms and legs ready to go. That's it for today's show. Stay locked in. We'll catch you on Monday here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.